Paper Crafters Library and Sunny Stampin' Studios. In this video, I'm going to spotlight a fun and versatile collection by Fancy Pants Designs. I'm then going to show you a tutorial for a cute project using elements from that collection. And finally, I'm going to tell you how you can enter to win the Fancy Pants collection that I'm going to introduce you to. This week's product spotlight and Freebie Friday giveaway is this paper collection kit from Fancy Pants Designs called Love Story. Now this collection kit comes with 12 sheets of double-sided pattern paper. So here you can see what one side of the patterns looks like, and here's what the other side looks like. So on the one side, the one that I showed you previously, we had a whole bunch of different types of patterns, vibrant, multicolored patterns, and here you see there's more muted, somewhat more monochromatic patterns that you see. So the nice thing is with 12 sheets, because these are double-sided, in essence you get 24 different patterns of paper. And what I really love about this is that yes, you do see some of the traditional red and pink Valentine's colors, but then when you look at some of the patterns as well, you can see that they can be used for a variety of different themes. It's not just all red and pink. We've got some blues, we've got some blacks in there, we've got some more tan colors, and some of the patterns, like this one here, you can see does, yes, it absolutely screams Valentine's, but then look at this heart pattern. You can use it for anything. Or this Baroque type pattern, you can use that for anything. A lot of these patterns in the back here too, with these text and print and stripes and flourishes, you can use them for any kind of a theme, not just Valentine's. Now as part of the kit, there's also two 6 by 12 inch sticker sheets. There's this element sticker sheet here, which you can see contains a variety of different shapes. There's some borders, there's labels, some main shapes, there's also some greetings in there, some corners, so you can use this for a lot of different things. And then there's also this alphabet sheet, which gives you these letters in red, and the capitals have a really pretty flourish incorporated into the design, and there's one of each capital, but then there's multiples of the lowercase letters, which is really nice. So now that you've been introduced to the Love Story collection, I want to show you how to make this cute little tag pouch using pattern paper and alphabet stickers from this collection. You can see that the pouch is a square shape, it's scalloped on 3 sides, and then it has this really pretty shaped tag that pulls out onto which you can write your greeting. So you can use this as a little love note, or you can attach it as a gift or as a tag to a gift that you might give someone for Valentine's or even for an anniversary. So let's get started. So I started with a 3.5 by 7 inch piece of this plaid style pattern paper from the Fancy Pants Love Story collection, and I die cut it using my Spellbinders Grand Caliber and this largest of the scalloped long rectangles die set from Spellbinders. So I die cut it and I embossed it, and then that gave me this beautiful long scalloped rectangular shape out of this really pretty pattern paper. So to create the pocket, you simply want to take your scalloped rectangle and you want to fold the bottom upwards like so, and then match the scallops. So you want to make sure it's nice and even. And then when you have the top scallops matched, take a quick look at the sides, and then take a bone folder and run it along the bottom so that you can get a nice crisp crease like so. So this is how I created the pocket for this, for our little tag pouch. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my score tape, and I'm using the 1/8 of an inch width. I want something that is very narrow, and I find that this is the perfect solution. It's about the same strength as regular double-sided tape, but it's a lot narrower, and you also have more control over its placement. So I'm just going to stretch this across, and I'm positioning it so that it's fairly close to the edge of the scallop. So I want to get it as close as I can, and I started where the score line was and went all the way to the end. And I'm going to do this along this second side as well. Now this tape is, it's a double-sided adhesive, so what you see is the paper backing on top, which I will be peeling off, and the adhesive itself is clear. So this is also a really neat product for glittering, if you want to create glitter strips. And then I'm just going to take a fine tip to peel the backing off. Now if you're looking for this score tape, this 1/8 of an inch width, this is a product that we do carry in the Sunny Stampin' store. So there you can see the adhesive, and as I mentioned, it's clear. So then you very carefully fold your pouch back up and then run your fingers over where the score tape is, and you've now got this nice little sealed pocket, which, as you can see here, is open at the top. So this is where we're going to be inserting the tag. So our next step is now to cut the belly band that's going to go across the front of this tag pouch. My next step is to die cut the belly band, or the band that's going to go across the center of my tag pouch. And for that, I'm going to be using the same die I used to die cut the pattern paper for the tag pouch itself. And the reason that I need to do this for the band that goes across the middle is because I want the scalloped edges to be able to match. So here I have a piece of cardstock from Basil. It's called Petunia is the color, and it's 1.5 by 3.5 inches. And I'm aligning the top edge at the center point between two scallops. Now, to hold it in place and to make sure that this doesn't shift as I'm die cutting it, I'm going to be using this Scotch matte finish removable tape. So I'm just going to take two little pieces here and hold them in my fingers while I make sure that my cardstock piece is aligned. Now, this matte tape is something that, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you've probably seen me use this, in particular when I'm using dies. And I really love it because it's a low tack tape, so it's not going to tear my cardstock. If you use a regular Scotch tape, even painter's tape, you'll find that the adhesive, as you pull it off, because of the pressure that squishes it to the paper as you run it through the die cutting machine, even something like painter's tape, when you peel it off, can tear the cardstock. And this, I've been using it over and over again with my dies, and it doesn't tear. And this is another product that we do carry in our Sunny Stampin' store, simply because we found ourselves using it so much. So I'm now going to take this piece and I'm going to run it through my grand caliper. I'm going to first run it through with the cutting plate and then the embossing plate. So I've run this through my grand caliper, and I'm now ready to very carefully remove it from the die. And as you can see, it's peeling off very nicely from that removable tape. There's no tearing or marking of my cardstock at all. So I can now layer this piece on top of my pouch like so. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention when you're placing your die on this, with the Basil cardstock, there's one side that's more highly textured than the other. So the more textured side you want to be facing you when your die and the little blade that cuts is facing downwards. And that way you make sure that when it cuts and embosses, the more textured side is facing up. So I'm going to set my pouch aside because we're not going to attach it quite yet. My next step is to decorate this little piece. And to do that, I'm going to be using these rhinestones. And I had got this sheet of rhinestones in a kit that I had bought from Stampin' Up. It was an Easter egg decorating kit that I bought 2 or 3 years ago. And I never ended up using the rhinestones. So I just set them aside, and they're just part of my stash. And when I was looking for something to decorate the edges of this, I found these would be perfect. So I've just peeled one of the borders away from the sheet or off of the sheet, and I'm aligning it with the bottom edge of the cardstock, like so. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut away the remaining border that I don't need. And I'm just going to place that right back on the transfer sheet so that I can use that for another project. I'm now going to do that for the remaining edge. So there you can see what that looks like. Now, when cutting the belly band, you'll notice here there's a full scallop, and here there is sort of a partial scallop. The partial scallop is the bottom. You want the full scallop to be at the top. So once the rhinestone border is on, the next step is to add our letters. Now, for this particular pouch, because I only have one of each capital letter, and I used one in creating this one which says love, I'm going to put mine on here, and then I'm going to stamp a little B, so for Be Mine. Now, when adding my greeting, I always work backwards from the end, and that just helps make sure that I get my spacing properly. So I'm going to start with the E, so it's M-I-N-E, and I'm going to work backwards. So I'm just using my Cutter Bee tweezers, and anytime there's a removable element from the sticker, I press it down against the transfer sheet while carefully lifting the letter, and then that way I don't have to deal with little pieces sticking to my fingers. And then using my tweezers, I just position this where I want it on my cardstock piece, and then I stick it down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the remaining letters. So there you can see what my letters now look like. So the next thing that I need to do is to create the greeting B. So here I have a scrap of white cardstock, and I have a stamp that says Be Mine, and this is from the Simple Valentine stamp set by Paper Tray. And I only want to ink up the word B, and I'm using my Ranger Jet Black archival ink and just stamping it on my white cardstock piece like so. I'm then going to take the 7/8 of an inch circle punch, and I just need to trim a little bit closer to the B so that I can fit my punch in. And I want to position the B towards the top of this 7/8 of an inch circle. I want it to be centered, like so, and close to the top. And then I'm going to punch that piece out. I'm then going to take my 1-inch circle punch, and here I have a scrap of the Petunia cardstock, and I'm going to punch out my 1-inch circle. I'm then going to take some double-sided adhesive, and here I'm using my Thermoweb Tape Runner XL, and I'm putting some at the back of this circle, and I'm sticking it on top of my 1-inch circle so that it leaves a small border all around, like so. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to place some double-sided adhesive at the bottom, and I'm going to position it just above my border here, like so. And then I'm going to take my pouch and I'm going to run my adhesive. Now I think this is done, so I will use my score tape since I have that handy. And I'm just going to run a few strips of that along the back. Now, one of the things I didn't mention when I was using my score tape earlier is that you can just rip the ends. You don't have to cut it, which is nice. So if you don't need an even end, you can just tear it like so. So I'm now going to remove the backings, and then I'm going to stick it across my pouch. So there you can see what that now looks like, and our pouch is finished. So now it's our tag that we need to work on. So to create my tag, here I have a piece of Petunia cardstock, and this is 3.5 by 4 inches. And I'm going to place it on my score buddy with the 4-inch line, or the 4-inch side butted up against the top of the score buddy. And then I'm going to take my little bone folding tool that comes with it, or scoring tool, and I'm going to score this at 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to put my score buddy aside, and I'm going to fold that 1.5 inch flap upwards and then just score along the fold line. Now for my pouch, I'm using the Spellbinders die set. It's Labels 22, and I'm using the 3rd from the largest size. Now because I want a tag that is longer than what this die piece is, and basically what I want is this ornamental shape at the top of my tag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fold line and I'm going to align it so that the fold is aligned with this portion of the die here. But I don't want it to be on that, I want it to be just above it, so that way the fold line is not going to get cut, and I'm going to end up with a die, or with a tag that's the width of this widest piece. So then I'm going to very carefully flip it over, and I'm just going to use the pieces of the Scotch removable tape that I had used when I was die cutting the band that goes across the center. So I'm going to tape this down, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to run it like this through my Spellbinders Grand Caliber, and I'm also going to emboss it afterwards. So I've now die cut my tag here, and I'm very carefully going to remove my tape and set that aside because I can reuse that a couple of times. And here you can see I now have my tag. And it's got this pretty ornamental shape at the top. Now, of course, you will have noticed that we do have this crease line that's going across the bottom of this piece. So we're going to be hiding that with cardstock and pattern paper. I've cut a piece of white cardstock and a piece of pattern paper, both to 2 1/4 by 2 7/8 of an inch. So the white will be stuck at the top and it's going to hide, or on the front, and it's going to hide that line, and then the plaid piece is going to be stuck at the back so that it hides that fold there. First off, before I do that though, I'm going to stamp my white piece, and for that I'm going to use this heart border, which is also from the Paper Tray Simple Valentine stamp set, and I'm going to use Stampin' Up's Poppy Parade Classic ink. So I'm just going to ink up a portion of this border because I don't need the whole thing inked, and then I'm going to stamp it along the bottom of this piece. And there you can see what that now looks like. So I can now go ahead and take this piece, and using my double-sided adhesive, I can stick this onto the front of my tag, just leaving an even border on the bottom left and right sides, and then I can flip that over and attach my pattern paper piece. So there's that. That's what that now looks like. So for the top, for the hole, I'm going to be using my Crop-A-Dile, and I'm going to be using the larger hole size, and I'm going to punch a hole through the top like so. Now for the ribbon, I'm going to be using both ribbon and twine, and I'm going to be using some Raspberry Fizz ribbon, and I'm just folding a piece that's going to be 8 inches, and I'm just doing this visually and then cutting. And for my twine, I'm going to do the same. Here I've got, making sure that my twine piece is just as big as my ribbon piece. I'm then going to hold the two pieces together, and I'm going to fold them in half and then fold them again, and I'm going to stick this, just want to make sure it's small enough to fit through the hole. I'm going to stick it through the back, and then I'm going to open up the loops, and you want both loops to be open. You may find it helpful to have your tweezers or pencil tip or something handy so that you can hold open your loops. And then you want to take the ends of the ribbon and the twine, and you want to feed the ends through both the loops, the twine and the ribbon loops, like so. And then before you pull it tight, you can adjust your twine if you want it showing. If you just want it sticking out a little bit. And if you find that when you've tied it you don't see your twine enough, it's easy enough to kind of untie and then position your twine so that you see it more in front. So there you can see what that now looks like. So all we have left to do now is to just trim the ends of our ribbon and our twine. And the ribbon ends I'm tying at an angle, and the twine I'm just shortening a little bit. And there you can see we now have our pouch. So then the last thing is to just stick the tag inside the pouch, and our project is finished. Now here's another project that was also created using paper from the Love Story collection kit, and it's actually the same pattern that I used for the little tag pouch, which I just showed you guys how to make. Now this little box is called the With All My Heart box, and it's 4 inches high by about 2.5 inches wide, making it a really nice size to hold treats in. And here you can see we filled it with these cinnamon hearts. Now you can see when you look at it from the back that it's held closed by this little tab closure mechanism, and these little tabs just slide into the slots here. Now we do have a video tutorial, PDF handout, and the exclusive template available for our Paper Crafters Library members. If you've never heard of Paper Crafters Library, then you'll definitely want to check it out. It's the most comprehensive library of paper crafting video tutorials that you're going to find anywhere on the web today. We have over 700 videos and we add 4 to 5 videos every week. Now you're going to find all sorts of different videos ranging from beginner all the way to advanced paper crafters. There's technique videos, there's product information videos, and then tons of completed projects, things like cards, scrapbooks, mini albums, 3D items and gifts, and altered art. If you visit our blog and then click on the video library link at the top, you can see exactly what we have in the library, as well as check out some of our free videos, of which we have quite a few. Okay, so last thing for this video, how do you enter to win this collection pack? All you have to do is visit our blog and leave us a comment in the comments section of the post that you see here. Now, if you're watching this video from somewhere other than our blog, in the video description section, you will find a link that's going to take you directly to this blog post. And in the blog post, you're also going to find a PDF handout for the little tag pouch video tutorial that I shared with you earlier in this video. And then at the bottom of that post, you'll find a section where you can enter your comments for your chance to win this Fancy Pants Love Story collection. Now, winners will be announced on the blog Friday, January 13th. See you on the blog.